Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fleming, currently in the UK. Welcome to the session. This session is going to be called Be an Entrepreneur, Business for a Better World. Please move on to the next slide. I have Mike Richardson helping me out with the slides here today, so thanks very much for your help, Mike. And yeah, I'll give you prompts as and when needed. So just to introduce myself, my name's Steve Fleming, currently based in the UK. First and foremost, I'm a big sports fan, a big football fan, and also the co-founder of Kick for Life, a charity, a football club, and a social enterprise based in Lesotho in Southern Africa. Now you can see on the map in the background, most of Africa, the red dot down the bottom in the circle, that is Lesotho, a small country fully surrounded by South Africa, beautiful country. In that capacity, I'm a social entrepreneur, and that is someone who pursues new ways of doing things that have the potential to solve community-based problems. Okay, please move on, Mike. So just to bring some of that to life, this is a picture of some of our coaches who deliver our community football programs, and their programs around health, education, gender, and employability. And these are amazing coaches. Next, please. As I said, we're also a football club, and our men's and women's teams both play in the top flight leagues in Lesotho. And this is our women's team winning the Super League trophy, our first major honour a couple of years ago. Most of the players are former participants who've come through our programs. Next, please. And this is the social enterprise part. We have a restaurant, a hotel, and a conference centre, which were set up really for two reasons. Firstly, to generate income, to sustain our football programs, but also to provide training and employment opportunities for young people coming through to support them on a journey to sustainable livelihoods. Next, please. And this is an image really which captures it all in one photo. So as you can see, there's some football activities going on. There's some health education sessions taking place. The red tents are where HIV testing and counselling is taking place. The white building in the top right, we deliver lots of our education programs there, and the other larger building, that's where we have our restaurant, our hotel, and office space for our staff. So that is the Kick for Life Centre. Okay, thanks. Next, Mike, please. So just to tell you about this session, this is a session taken from the Kick for Trade curriculum. Curriculum created by Kick for Life with support from International Trade Centre, UEFA Foundation for Children, and Street Football World. Now, it's normally delivered on the pitch in a football-based setting, but for obvious reasons today we're trying it out for the first time remotely. So I really hope you enjoy it. There are two main themes in the session. The first is creativity. Now, I think we all have a good understanding already about what we mean by creativity, but it's the use of imagination or original ideas to create something. The second theme that we're going to be looking at is entrepreneurship. And that's, again, we probably have a good idea about what an entrepreneur is, but that's creating a business with the aim of generating a profit. Now, normally we think about that profit only as being a financial profit, but actually as social entrepreneurs, we also think about that profit in other terms, including our impact on society and in the community, or perhaps our impact on the environment. Now, this is going to be an interactive session, so your involvement is going to be important to make sure it works. Obviously, if you could stay on mute throughout the interaction, it's going to take place on chat, and I'm going to invite you to contribute comments and answer some questions as we go through. So please put your thoughts in. I'll do my best to respond. Hopefully we'll have so many that I can't respond to all of them, but I'll do my best to capture and respond to as many of the inputs as I can. Okay, next, please. Okay, the first theme is creativity. Now, a simple question to start off with, and please put your answers into the box, is can we be creative in football? When we play football, can we be creative? First yes is in. Thank you very much. Hopefully a few more positive responses to come. Football is all about creativity. Fantastic. Thank you, Jivan. Great stuff. Well, yeah, the answer is yes, absolutely. When we play football, another yes coming through. Thank you very much. Is yeah, we're always being creative, and every time we step on the football pitch, it's an expression of our creativity. Every situation we find ourselves in is slightly different, and how we respond is a creative response every time. So yeah, absolutely. Now, the next question is: can you think of any footballers, famous footballers, who are particularly creative? When you think of them, that is a creative footballer. So please put your answers into the chat. Messi, yeah, fantastic one to start off with. Incredibly creative footballer, does things we don't expect. Hopefully some more to come in. The late Maradona, absolutely, yeah. Incredibly creative footballer. I remember watching him as a 10-year-old, as an England fan. Devastating, but at the same time, brilliantly creative. Okay, we've got another one. It's just the Argentinians for now. Okay, so I've got a few more jotted down on my list of creative footballers. So I've got Neymar, Sadio Mane, Megan Rapinoe, a very creative player, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ada Hegerberg. I'm sure some of you have heard of or seen clips of Johan Cruyff as well. So next question is, what is it that makes us think of these players as creative? What do they do that marks them out as being creative footballers? So please put your answers into the chat. Waiting for the first one to come through. What makes us think of Messi as being a creative player, or Cruyff or Ronaldo? Okay, nothing coming through yet. So, well, I'll tell you what I've got down. I think of these. Oh, hold on, we've got one coming. They always deliver. Absolutely. They invent new skills. That's the first one on my list. And they try new things. They do things we don't expect. They create opportunities for their colleagues, and they take risks as well. And finally, they practice and they work hard. And when we think about do things out of nothing, that's a good one. When we think about a player like Ronaldo, for example, with his knuckleball free kick, he didn't just turn up on the pitch and do that. I'm sure he spent many hours on the training ground practicing it, and then suddenly we see it on the pitch, and it's amazingly creative. But behind that, of course, there's a lot of hard work. And what about other areas of life where we can be creative? Can you think of any examples other than sports and other than football where we can express our creativity? Don't be shy. Just put your thoughts into the chat. Be good to hear from some more people. Some fantastic contributions from Jivan, but it'd be nice to hear from some other people as well. Okay, nothing yet. So I'll tell you what I've got down. Other areas of life where we can be creative. Well, the creative arts. Well, we've got our first response. Every part of life, while communicating, building relations. Yeah, thank you very much for that. I've got down creative arts, such as dancing, painting, storytelling, poetry, and then the performing arts, singing, music. But then some other things such as cooking, we can be creative in creating new dishes, fashion and makeup, and also in terms of technology, amazing creativity, designing games, coding, etc. So, there's many areas in life that we can be creative. And I think what that shows us is that everybody has the potential to be creative in different areas. Sometimes I think perhaps we think about creativity being for somebody else, for certain types of people, but actually creativity is for everybody, and there's always a way that we can be creative. But actually, I think we also find, thinking back to those footballers, sometimes the most creative people are those that put in the most work. So we think about those footballers, Ronaldo, Messi, Maradona, Rapinoe, etc. The amazing things they do on the pitch. They're amazingly creative, but actually they're probably as well also the hardest working footballers out there. Okay, moving on to the next question. Now, what of some of the things we can do? Sorry, not the next slide. Yeah, please, Mike. If you just go back. Thank you very much. So what are some of the things we can do to nurture our creativity? We've talked about practicing, but what else is there that we can do to nurture our creativity? Any thoughts, please put them into the box. I'll give you a few seconds, and if nothing comes up, I'll give you what I've got down on my sheet, but it'd be good to hear from people. Okay, so the first one is, I think we've covered it already, is really to experiment, to try different things. We don't know necessarily if something's going to work, but if we experiment and try it and practice, we can help to nurture our creativity. Taking time to think, getting away from technology, finding some free space in our heads and a lack of distractions can be a great way. So thank you, Jivan. Yeah, thinking and practice, really important. Engaging with other people is also another important one, because that's the way that we can make connections. Connecting with others, listening to other people's ideas, connecting with people that may be the types of people we don't normally speak to, and that can broaden our horizons for our creative minds. And expand our knowledge. So it's probably an obvious one, but reading, studying, watching documentaries can all help us to expand our creative imagination. And then a final one, slightly different, which is related to our bodies. What can we do related to our bodies that can help us to be creative and think creatively? Anybody got any ideas? Okay, well, they are eating healthily and exercise. We may not think of those as obvious ones, but actually a healthy body certainly equals a healthy mind. And if we've got a good diet, a nutritious diet, we feed our mind with the right things we need. And exercise, of course. I don't know about you, but I find if I go for a run, or if I play some sport, quite often that's when I come up with some of the better ideas I have to exercise and get our minds thinking as well. Okay. In terms of business, can we be creative in business and as entrepreneurs? In what ways can we or can people be creative in the world of business? Any thoughts? Please put them in the chat. Of course we can. Thank you. Can you give us some examples of ways that we can be creative in business? Hopefully there's more to come from Voila. It's very important, skills, but not everyone's piece of cake. True. Any more thoughts about what we can do in business to be creative? Okay, so I've got down probably the most obvious one is creating new products and services. Oh, we've got one come through here. That's great. Through the execution of your business and the ways you pitch it, and through social media. Absolutely. So that touches on promotion and marketing and communications, which is a definite way. I'm sure we all seen some creative advertising campaigns, and social media is a great channel for reaching people. But yeah, products and services, finding new ways of doing things, new technology, marketing and advertising campaigns, creating visions that people want to follow, and finding ways of gaining competitive advantage. So thinking about what other people are doing, what can we do that is slightly better and slightly improved and build upon. Now, hopefully we'll get some more answers coming through for this next question. Can you think of any examples of companies or entrepreneurs anywhere in the world that are creative? So this could be a big global company, or it could be a small business in your local community that you think, they do something really well that nobody else does. So any examples of companies out there or people, entrepreneurs that are really pushing the boundaries? Generation amazing, great answer. Absolutely pushing the boundaries of creating a legacy through a mega tournament. Okay, so I've got top of my list is Apple. It's an incredibly innovative company in terms of the products and services they create, leading the way. Tesla, the self-driving cars, and Elon Musk as the founder of that company, taking cars up into space, doing all sorts of things that push the boundaries of business. Amazon, finding new ways of being efficient in their delivery of goods. I've got Facebook down there. Obviously, Facebook, one of the first social media companies out there, creating a new way of people interacting and connecting with each other. Also, Rihanna, maybe not as such an obvious example, but she started off as a pop star and used that as a platform to move into creating a global beauty and fashion business. And then also, I think around the pandemic, we can also think of lots of examples of companies that have been innovative and adapted to the changing business environment. So where I live, online delivery of food has suddenly become a really popular thing, and there's new companies popping up all over the place, and companies moving into the production of masks, etc. And then the final one I've got down is Bill Gates. So Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, very much started out as a tech entrepreneur, but has subsequently become almost as well known as a social entrepreneur. So moving into the field of health and trying to solve some of the world's biggest challenges, such as HIV and malaria. So good example of a crossover there. Okay, so Mike, if you could move on to the next slide, brings me to first key messages of the session. The first one: everyone is creative, and there are things we can do to nurture and connect with our creativity. And the second key message: entrepreneurs are always seeking new ideas and improved ways of doing things. Okay, thank you. That's our first two key messages. Next slide, please. We're now going to have a go at trying to develop some of our own business ideas. Now, on the next slide, we have a tool that's going to help us to do that. So if you click onto that, please, Mike. This is the pitch of ideas. Now, it vaguely resembles a football pitch with a circle in the middle, or another sports pitch. Now, what I'd like you to do, if you've got a piece of paper and a pen, is to draw out this shape with the circle and the four rectangles. Don't worry if you haven't got access to pen or paper right now. What you can do is just write down what I'm going to ask you to write down, or you can just type it into your phone if that's what you have available. Okay, if you could click, please, Mike. Now, what we're going to do in the first box is what I'd like you to do is write down your interests. So I'd like to think about the things you're interested in, you're passionate in, it could be related to school, it could be related to work, hobbies, etc. Now, I'm going to give you a condensed football match to do this. Normally, a football match is 90 minutes. I'm going to give you 90 seconds of music to write down your interests. So, Mike, if you could start the music, and we'll have a go at that. So if you go onto yep, that's it. Okay, for someone who's just joined, we're currently writing down our interests. Another 30 seconds to go. Okay, thanks, Mike. Hopefully you've got a few things in your box now. If you could move on to, if you could click again on the, not on the music, on the slide. Okay, great stuff. We've now got in the second box on the top right, the word problems. So if you could write that down, and I'm going to give you another 90 seconds in a moment to write down some of the issues and challenges that you see in the world. And I'd like you to think about these from two perspectives. Firstly, from the perspective of a community member. So what issues and challenges do you see in the world around you? It could be related to access to healthcare or to education, or it could be sanitation challenges. What problems do you see in the local community? But also, what problems do you see and experience as a consumer of products and services out there? It could be bad customer service or a lack of affordable products. So have a go at writing down now what problems you see in the world around you. So Mike, if you could start the music again for another 90 seconds, we'll give that a go. Thank you. Okay, so maybe the music isn't working. That's not a problem, but we'll give you 90 seconds anyway to fill those boxes in, to fill problems in. Okay, another 30 seconds. Just a reminder, we're putting down problems that we see as a community member, but also as a consumer of products and services. Okay, a few seconds left. Great, there we go. Okay, so if you could click onto the next box, please, Mike. In the bottom left, we've got the word skills. Now, in this one, I'd like you to write down what you see as being your talents and your strengths as an individual. It could be related, again, to anything in life. It doesn't necessarily have to be academic. It could be related to sport or to being creative in another way. And of course, skills aren't just a static thing in life. We can develop new skills. So if there are particular skills you're keen to develop, you could split it into two columns. It could be first column skills that you have, and the second column could be skills that you're planning or that you'd like to develop. So 90 seconds again for that one. Go. Matthias has just joined us. We're currently writing down our skills, our personal skills. So you've got about 45 seconds left now to write down skills that you currently possess or skills that you would like to develop. Could be a new language, musical instrument, anything. Okay, last few seconds. Great stuff. Okay, stop that one. Mike, if you could click again, please. Great. So the bottom right box is ambition. So please write ambitions into this one. And this is the final 90 seconds I'm going to give you. This time I'd like you to write in what you want to do with your life, things you particularly want to achieve at some point in your life, long-term goals that you have. So the final 90 seconds will begin now. This could relate to career, it could relate to sport, travel. Okay, halfway through now. Okay, last 20 seconds. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so hopefully you've now got in all of those 4 boxes some good content. Now, Mike, if you could click once more, please. Now, this final circle in the middle, we've got the word business ideas. Now, we're not going to have a go at this one now because this requires a bit more time and a bit more thought to reflect on what you've put down already. But what I want you to do is take this away and have a think about how you could potentially connect the input from these 4 different boxes to come up with some business ideas. So ideas that draw on your interests, that draw on the problems you see around you in the world as a consumer or as a community member, that make the most of your personal skills and that help you to fulfill your long-term ambitions. To give Mike, you could click again. Now, when I was setting up Kick for Life, we didn't have the pitch of ideas. It wasn't something that existed. However, now on reflection, looking back, certainly I used it. I used the different boxes in the creation of Kick for Life. In interests, I would have put down football, sport, travel. Problems, I was interested in international development and the challenge of HIV/AIDS. In the skills, I was quite good at communicating and writing and business planning. And in ambitions, I was always liked the idea of trying to set up a charity and to do something a bit different, to do something exciting with my life. And on reflection, I definitely pulled on all these different areas in what was the creation of a sport for development organization in Africa. So, yeah, take it away, have a think in your own time. Ideas box, and please do share it with the team at Generation Amazing because we'd love to see what ideas have come up and what potential business ideas that you might take on at some point in the future. So next slide, please, Mike. This brings me to the final and the third key message of the session, and that is that we all have the potential to create good ideas, and that by taking time to think, ask questions, reflect, and make connections, entrepreneurs can develop ideas that have potential to succeed and change the world for the better. Now, I think it's important to note that not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur in business, and that's absolutely fine. Other people want to do different things with their lives. However, I do think we all have the potential to be entrepreneurial in whatever we do, in whatever job or pursuits that we have. We have the potential to be creative, to come up with new ideas, to find new and better ways of doing things. So even if we're not trying to set up new products and services, we can think of ourselves as being entrepreneurial individuals. I think that's really important. And the other point is that the time in our life when we might become entrepreneurs doesn't have to necessarily be right now and immediately. I know for myself, I wasn't ready to start pursuing a business when I was in my late teens, but by the time I was mid to late 20s, I was 27 when we set up Kick for Life. It was the right time for me to pursue setting up an enterprise. So I think that's another important thing to remember as well, is that we need to pursue these opportunities when the time is right for us. So, that brings me to the end of the presentation. I'd like to have to get your feedback, really. And the first question is, it'd be great to have some comments. What have you learned from this session? Firstly, about creativity, and secondly, what have you learned about entrepreneurship? So anything you've taken away from what we've covered today, please put it in the chat. It'd be nice to see what you've taken. Nothing coming through yet. Hopefully you're all just being shy and you have learned something. Also, alternative, if you'd like to ask me a question about Kick for Life and about our journey in sport for development, about our work as a charity or as a football club or as a social enterprise, please put your questions in the chat. I'd be delighted to answer. Or about my personal journey as a social entrepreneur. Oh, Mike, thank you. You love the process of developing ideas. Great. Jivan, is Kick for Life working in Nepal? Not currently. So our project is currently based in Lesotho in Southern Africa, but we do currently work with other sport for development organizations around the world, helping them to improve and develop their sport for development programs. So we have done some work in Pakistan over the last couple of years, and in India, other parts of Africa, but not yet Nepal. But we would, if the opportunity arises, we would love to come and do some work out there. Aware of some good charities already that are doing fantastic work in Nepal. Yep, hopefully. Great. Okay, any final questions about anything we've covered or about the world of sport for development in general? Okay, nothing else for now. So if there's no more questions, I think that brings us to the end of the workshop. I hope it's been useful and interesting and that you've taken something from it. Please do, as I said, take away your pitch of ideas, find some. Oh, great, we've got a question. What kind of local cultural challenges you have faced delivering programs in different contexts, and have you addressed them? Thanks for the question, Mohammed. Yeah, one that comes to mind is the challenge of delivering gender equal programs in Lesotho, where we primarily work. It's a male-dominated culture, and opportunities for girls to play football and to engage in sport are quite limited. So we've had to challenge some of the existing stereotypes and in providing girls with opportunities. And that's been a process of changing the attitudes of some of the young men that we work with, as well as developing some of the girls as coaches, giving them the opportunity to be empowered to actually deliver football-based programs to boys and girls. And also creating a women's football team. So when we started out at Kick for Life, there wasn't a women's football league in Lesotho. There weren't any structured opportunities for girls to play sport. So we worked closely with the Lesotho FA to create the Super League, to create our own club, Kick for Life, to support the promotion of other clubs. And now we've got a thriving league, which we hope will grow, and we'll hope to change attitudes about the role of girls in sport and other parts of society. Trying to think of any other examples. How sport for development programs help build new entrepreneurs. So yeah, we've delivered a number of, as you've seen at Kick for Life, we created a restaurant and an inn and a conference centre that were the charities enterprises initially, and then we employed local people to come in and work in them. And actually through that experience, some of the initial trainees and staff have gone on to create their own businesses, their own catering companies, their own food production companies. So by providing that opportunity for them to gain experience with Kick for Life and to gain confidence to go out there and then create their own businesses that are even rivals for Kick for Life. But that's a really positive thing, because we're giving young people a chance to go and pursue their dreams. And the same for football. Some of our young footballers started off playing for Kick for Life, did really well playing for our teams, and then moved on to other opportunities, whether it's a scholarship in the USA or a bigger club in South Africa. Not necessarily entrepreneurs, but in terms of their own development in their careers. And we also have a number of employability and entrepreneurship programs. So this session that I've just delivered, Be an Entrepreneur, is taken from the Kick for Trade curriculum, which includes over 20 sessions that look at different skills that entrepreneurs need: organizational skills, communication skills, creativity, working with others, etc. Is there a chance you can be part of our program? Well, currently what we deliver is in Lesotho, so probably difficult to engage there. However, please do connect with us on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can follow Kick for Life and find out what we're doing, and follow our football teams and see the different work we're doing. Also, you can access, that's just to answer the question that's just popped up, the Kick for Trade curriculum is available online at the International Trade Centre website. I think we can probably circulate that link afterwards. But yeah, and if you Google International Trade Centre Kick for Trade, you'll be able to access the curriculum and download it. And yeah, it's fully accessible, all the different sessions. Great. Just any final questions? Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the session, unless anything pops up in the next few seconds. But thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure running through this with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Just to emphasize again, if you could take away those pitch of ideas in your own time, fill in the business ideas, and then if you could share that with Generation Amazing, we'd love to see what you've come up with. So thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying the rest of the Generation Amazing Festival, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the future at some point. So yeah, all the best. Thank you very much, and goodbye.